Okay, so today's lesson is solving on quadratic equations by factoring, and I absolutely know that you're going to love this because y'all love factoring. So x squared plus x minus 20 equals 0. Here is the big difference. We have an equals 0. Equals 0. And we used to not have an equals anything on this side of our equation. So basically, we are going to factor, and we're going to figure out what x equals. And we can because now we're going to have it equal to something. So draw your T-chart. X is 1. A is 1, so that means that it's just one of the simple T-charts. And I have to put... this is going to be a negative 20 here, because that number goes here, and then this number has to be a positive 1. And this is multiplying on this side, and this is adding the terms. So, what two numbers will equal negative 20? And I use negative because of this right here. So I have positive 5 and negative 4. And then that would be 5 plus negative 4. It's 5 plus negative 4. 1. Yes, so it works. So I'm going to go ahead and use those values. So that means I have, and I'm going through this quickly because this is something we've already learned. I'm just trying to refresh your memory. So then I have x plus 5 over here, because it's a positive 5, and x minus 4 over here. Okay, here's the big thing that we don't usually see. We have equals 0. So x plus 5, x minus 4 equals 0. Basically, you're going to split them up. So I'll have x plus 5, so I'm going to go ahead and write that. X plus 5 equals 0. And then I'm just going to use a slightly different color so y'all can visually differentiate it. Okay, x minus 4 equals 0. So, what this means is this is x plus 5 equals 0, or x minus 4 equals 0. So, x plus 5 equals 0. What does x equal? Well, all you do is solve for x, and this is kind of obvious, but I'm going to go ahead and show the steps. You subtract 5 from both sides. So, x equals negative 5. Or, x equals, I add 4 on both sides, so x equals positive 4. Okay, so now that I have these, I have to check my work. So I'm going to plug in and see if negative 5 works. So I'm plugging it back into my equation. So I have negative 5 squared plus negative 5 minus 20. And because I'm able to use a calculator, I'm going to see if that works. But I can do it kind of in my head. Negative 5 squared is negative 5 times negative 5, which is positive 25. 25 plus negative 5, that's subtracting, because they're different sides. 25 minus 5 is 20, and then 20 minus 20 is 0. So x equals negative 5 works. And then let's go ahead and do x equals 4. So I'm going to go ahead and do 4 squared plus 4 minus 20 equals 0. That's 16 plus 4 is 20 minus 20 equals 0, so that one works. So I would write, and I know this is so not how I should do this, actually. Okay, I would write my solution set. Solution set. If one of them worked and one of them didn't work, then you would write the one that didn't work. Is negative 5, 4. Okay. Okay, so this one looks pretty simple. X squared equals 36. My first thing I need to do, I need to have equals 0. Like, I don't need to have it to be equal to 36. Because if I have it equal to 36, then I can't solve to figure out what they actually equal. So x squared equals 36. So that means I have to manipulate my equation, and I'm just going to rewrite it, to where on this side of the equation, all I have is equal 0. So that means I need to move over to 36. How do I do that? Well, it's a positive 36, so I go ahead and subtract minus 36 on both sides, and then minus 36, and this goes away, and all I have left is x squared minus 36 on this side equals 0. All I did was manipulate the equation, and I know that some of you are going to be really confused by that. Well, if you notice, x squared minus 36, this is the difference of two squares. That means I can find the square root of x squared and find the square root of 36. This is also a review, so that's why I'm going through it pretty quickly. So, oops. I have to do x plus 6, x minus 6, because it's perfect. It's a special product. X plus 6, x minus 6 equals 0. If this is a step that you are unsure of in your notebook, write that down, because tomorrow we can go over it. I just don't want to waste time on this lesson going over it, because that will, that's not what this lesson is about. This lesson is about solving for your x's. So now I just have to split it up, and so I'll have x plus 6 equals 0 on one, and x minus 6 equals 0 on the other. So on this one, this isn't obvious. I subtract, so x equals negative 6. On this one, I add 6, so x equals positive 6. Now, all I do is plug it back into the original equation. So I'm going to plug this one back in. I have negative 6 squared equals 36. Is that true? Negative 6 times negative 6 is a positive 36, so 36 equals 36. Then I plug this one back in, and this one is 6 squared equals 36. That is true. So that means my solution set is negative 6, 6, because they both work. Okay, so solve 11x equals 2x squared plus 14. What I would like you to do is I would like you to pause this video, and I want you to have it to where it's equal to 0. Okay, so you should have paused it, and you should you should have subtracted 11x from both sides, so minus 11x. So minus 11x. This goes away, and then you have left with 0 equals 2x squared plus 14 minus 11x. And then you should notice that it is not in the ax plus bx plus c form, x squared plus bx plus c form, and that's the form it needs to be in. So you need to move this over, and you don't know what this is. You need to move this over and this over. So you need to flip-flop the ways it goes. So you have 0 equals 2x squared minus 11x plus 14. Alright, so think about where you go from here. A does not equal 1. So what do you need to do? Okay, so what you should have remembered is that you need to multiply 2 times positive 14, and that will get you 28. So I'm going to drop everything down, and I'm going to have 2x squared minus, oops. Okay, so scratch what I just said. You know that you won't have, I was going on and I shouldn't have. Okay, so 2 and 14 is what you multiply to get your product of the first column in your T-chart. So 2 times 14 is 28. And whatever you multiply to get 28, you should be able to get the answer negative 11. So you have to think of two numbers. So I want you to jot down some numbers and see what you get. Okay, so you should have got a bunch of numbers, but negative 7 and negative 4 are the only two numbers that equal up to negative 11. So that means that I break it up into two. So these numbers are what attach to our x. So I have minus 7x, and then on this one I have minus 4x. That's what makes up the negative 11, and then plus 14. So this is all review. If you need help with this, that means I need to see you in lunch tutoring or morning tutorials. So now I group them. So if 2x squared minus 7x, the only thing I can take out is an x. So inside I'm left with 2x minus 7. And on this side, I can divide both of these by 2, but this is a minus sign, so it's going to be divided by a negative 2. So what I'm left with is I'm going to be dividing by negative 2. And so inside right here, I'll be left with 2x. And then this plus is going to change to negative because I'm dividing by negative, so minus 7. So then I have to combine x minus 2, which is x minus 2, times 2x minus 7. And then now I have equals 0. So this whole chunk right here was all review. Okay, so now I finished this problem off. All the new stuff, I'm going to be writing it in this light color. So x minus 2 equals 0. So I add 2, and so x equals 2. And then on this side, I'm going to do 2x minus 7 equals 0. So I add 7, and I get 2x equals 7. And then I divide by 2, and then x equals 7 halves. Okay. So now I need to check my work and see which ones are functions of this. I need to plug it back into the original. So 2 times 2 squared plus 14 minus 11 times 2 should give you 0. And if you plug that all into your calculator, you will get 2 squared is 4, 2 times 4 is 8, plus 14 is 22, minus 22 is 0. So then you have 0 equals 0. So it works. So then you check the next one. And you're going to have 2 times 7 halves squared plus 14 minus 11 times 7 halves. Okay, so I'm going to rearrange this, and you should get 7 halves squared is, times 2 is 49 halves. And then I'm going to drag this one over here. So then that's 77 halves minus 77 halves plus 14. And then you should get negative 14 when you 49 minus 77 halves. 49 halves minus 77 halves is negative 14 plus positive 14 equals 0. So that means this works. And all I did there was plug and chug again. All I did here was plug and chug, and they both work. So that means I would put my solution set. Is 2 and then 7 halves. Okay, so on your own, I want you to solve 7x squared minus 11x equals 6, and then we're going to go over this tomorrow.